captured. Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's funny, but it's always real TV. Amazing video from the military. That's a paratrooper hanging from a speeding plane. How will they get him down? It's a runaway barge caught on home video, and it's about to tip over.
Oh, there it goes.
Cameras in the air and on the ground track a suspect through several counties.
He's going eastbound on the wrong side of the road.
Fishermen stranded on the ice, and a blizzard is on the way. And why did the ducks cross the road? Whatever you do, don't blink. It's time for real TV.
Hi, I'm John Daly, back with another half hour of life's most amazing moments caught on tape. We begin thousands of feet in the air. A British Royal Air Force paratrooper jumps out of a plane, and his chute gets caught on the fuselage. Now he dangles like a toy G.I. Joe. Michael Brownlee has the tape.
If there was ever a time someone needed a miracle, now is that time. There's a man hanging from that plane. You're in England with the Royal Air Force Parachute Training Squad on a round of routine practice jumps. But on this day, one jump will be anything but routine. A camera mounted inside and one on a chase plane flying alongside capture everything on tape. Approaching the drop zone, Sergeant Ian Williams gets the thumbs up to start the drill.
The green light came on, which is our command to start dispatching the parachutists. There was no major problems as I was dispatching the troops out. It was only when we looked round the side of the door after we've dispatched all the troops that I saw there was a problem.
One of the soldiers is hanging from the moving aircraft. Somehow his chute fails to open and he gets caught on the side of the plane. Instructors on board scramble to help. Private Ron Millington is dangling helplessly thousands of feet in the air. RAF instructors are forced to use a rescue technique they've practiced for years, but they never actually used it during a real emergency. Rescuers bring out a device designed just for this type of rescue. They attach an emergency parachute to the floor of the plane. Everything outside of the aircraft, including the hung-up parachutist, is then fastened to a second parachute.
Quite honestly, that's when I got my first nerves. I had then time to sit and think about what was happening, what we'd just achieved, and what was just about to happen. I was aware this was going to be the first one, and I was just actually keeping my fingers crossed that it was going to work properly.
With a large pair of wire cutters, Sergeant Williams slices through a cable that holds the hung-up chute. That action frees Private Millington from his tangled parachute, replacing it with a new one.
The emergency parachute left the aircraft, and this intense feeling of relief when I saw the slipstream filled with billowing canopy as the emergency chute started to open. And I just remember going, yes!
Private Millington survives, cheating death and the jump that almost cost him his life.
The rescue was completed in 2.5 minutes. When Private Millington landed, he got up and walked away. To the Hudson River now, north of New York City. This stretch of the mighty Hudson is filled with twists and turns. It's a bad place to lose control of a barge. Here's the tape from the Coast Guard.
The video is provided by the Coast Guard. The drama is provided by this barge that is perilously close to sinking in the Hudson River. You're just south of Kingston, New York, where tugboat workers desperately try to stop 700 tons of steel from being dumped into the deep. For some reason, the barge is taking on water, so the tugboat captain attempts to run it aground before it sinks. It looks like a potential environmental disaster has been averted, but sadly, looks can be deceiving. The barge hits a rock and tips into 55 feet of water.
Oh, there it goes.
The Coast Guard can only watch as submerging steel gives the appearance of a gushing geyser. The bad news is that enough steel to make hundreds of cars is now at the bottom of the river. The good news is that with continuing cleanups, the Coast Guard says there should be no lasting environmental effect.
Now to Corbett, Oregon, where a pet raccoon is stuck atop a tree. The raccoon's owner knows that if she wants to get the animal down, she'll have to do it herself because no one's anxious to help. Now Sabila Vargas has the tape of 2 lives stuck in the tree.
On a snowy day in Corbett, Oregon, 40-year-old Linda Jones literally goes out on a limb to rescue her pet raccoon, Simba. The poor little critter is sick and has been stuck for 4 days at the top of this 80-foot-high fir tree. Unfortunately, now so is Linda. Linda's worried roommate, Kay Smith, calls the fire department.
Well, our raccoon went up Friday and got stuck, and he's retarded. He's not like a normal raccoon. And we couldn't get anybody to help. They kept telling her to do it herself, so she went up to get him out.
A freelance cameraman videotapes the tense moments as rescuers raise a cherry picker to bring Linda down safely. At the end of the ordeal, Linda's a little shaken, but okay. Unfortunately, her poor pet raccoon Simba is still stuck in the tree.
I can't believe they're just going to leave him up there to die.
This story would have ended there, and Linda's pet raccoon might still be stuck in the tree. But thanks to this video, which ran on the local news, a brave tree trimmer stepped forward and volunteered to help save Simba. The very next day, even the weather cooperates as 39-year-old Lynn Gibbons performs this delicate rescue.
No.
Simba's furry little friend Nayla keeps her company while the tree trimmer uses a veterinarian snare stick to catch the cagey critter.
He's got him. He's not happy, but he's got him. Oh, my goodness.
It takes about an hour to snag Simba, and the raccoon is placed neatly in a cage.
That's a wild ride, isn't it, kiddo? Okay.
There you go.
There you go, mister.
You are in. You are in. Look at him. Yes.
The other raccoons will probably miss him, but Linda Jones is grateful to have Simba back home.
Definitely.
And is there tape of your pet in a predicament? Why don't you send us a copy? Here's how to reach us on the web. Our address is realtv1.com. We'll be right back.
Still ahead, this chase goes on mile after mile. Will the cops catch him before someone gets hurt? And wait till you find out who's behind the wheel in this race.
Look out, we've got trouble in turn 1!
Later, these ducks better cross the road before their goose is cooked. No scripts, no actors. Real TV returns in a moment.
It's Sears Days, and it only happens twice a year. Our lowest prices of the season, like great savings on Michelin, Dunlop, and Yokohama tires. A terrific selection of top brand names for whatever you drive. So get to Sears Days. There's nothing like them.
As soon as your baby rolls over, you rush out and buy the walker, the jumpy thing, the expensive stretch diapers. But then you realize what you should have bought was a leash. And these new stretch diapers from Luvs with stretchy sides to help stop those little gaps. And when your kids get wild, Luvs work on leaks as well as fancy boy-girl diapers. But Luvs cost less every day without coupons. With the money you save, go out to dinner. Let someone else chase your kids. Hey, live and learn, and then get Luvs. New Luvs Stretch.
Grandma's fresh churned butter was the richest, creamiest thing I'd tasted until this churn style. Ever since they made it taste richer and creamier, it's more like Grandma's.
Country Crock Churn Style. Tastes richer and creamier than ever.
There's always something going on at Jerome's, and this week get the best furniture values in town, and Jerome's will pay the sales tax.
Jerome's! In a world of global intrigue, trust no one. I like this guy. So then we have to kill him. But believe in one man. If you want to live, you have to leave my side. The Saint, rated PG-13. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
Everybody's a little wild, everybody's a little child. Everybody's a little squirt, you squirt and squirt your thirst. Everybody's a little cool, everybody breaks a little rule. Everybody's a little squirt, you squirt and squirt your thirst. Everybody's a little juvenile, everybody's a little infantile. Everybody's a little squirt, you squirt and squirt your thirst. Ruby red squirt, a citrus berry blast. Everybody's a little squirt, you squirt and squirt your thirst. Everybody's a little squirt, you squirt and squirt.
On the next episode of Seinfeld. Stolen!
Someone left the door open.
Well, Mr. Seinfeld, we'll look into it and we'll let you know if we find anything.
You ever find anything?
No.
Enough about this. What do you think?
Great building. It's 2 bedrooms.
2 bedrooms? What do I need 2 bedrooms? I got enough trouble maintaining activity in 1.
Tonight at 7 on KUSI.
Somebody is manufacturing drugs laced with poison. Now one team must find the antidote or die trying. The Burning Zone.
Tonight at 8 on KUSI.
Welcome back. If there's one situation cops really won't tolerate, it's someone driving under the influence. Take a look at the effort on the part of police in several counties as they chase down a suspected drunk driver.
Falcon affirmative. We're behind you. We have infrared and searchlight capability.
Get ready for a wild ride in Georgia. Officers chase a speeding man through 5 jurisdictions.
Falcon dispatch, they're trying to get in position to slow him down.
We have pictures from a sheriff's helicopter above the scene and from a deputy on the ground. That's the speeder whizzing by. Deputy Brian Eubanks joins the chase early on. He hit 120 miles per hour on the Georgia freeway following the suspect.
I thought he was crazy myself. I didn't know what was wrong with him. And it's really scary.
4143.
The driver flies past cars and trucks trying to escape capture. Information from the helicopter warns of upcoming traffic.
Falcon to Fayette County, your next traffic is approximately 2 miles ahead.
Pursuits are dangerous. If the helicopter was to tell us there was something ahead that we needed to break it off, then that's it. We just got to break it off and live to pursue another day.
Falcon, he's going eastbound. It's in the skid. Falcon is going eastbound on the wrong side of the road.
That's right. The suspect is driving on the wrong side of the freeway toward oncoming traffic. After a tense 75 seconds, he drives back on the right side of the road. Then he hooks a quick left and spins out in a shopping center parking lot. Finally, the cops get a break, and the 20-minute chase is over.
Falcon, he's spun out. He's still trying to move. They're trying to box him in. They just had to signal 41 with him. He's still moving. Stand by. He's spun out. They're taking him into custody now, approaching the vehicle. Stand by.
By this time, there are 12 police cars surrounding the big-time speeder.
He had his hands up, saying, I give. But he wasn't opening the door, so we had to bust the window out and unlock the door to get him out of it.
Falcon, they have him in custody.
When we finally got the guy stopped and we asked him what his deal was, what's wrong with you, man? He said the whole reason is because he was scared. He had ran from Clayton County PD the month before. He was on probation, he was under the influence, and he was scared. Plain and simple.
Plain and simple, it was a wild ride, and this guy's in a world of trouble. 3 cities and 2 counties are throwing the book at him.
The suspect was charged with drunk driving, evading the cops, and running a stop sign. The police report didn't say anything about driving on the wrong side of the road. And this next tape will remind you of a song by the Beach Boys about a certain senior citizen who likes to drive fast in a suburb of Los Angeles. But this is no music video, it's real TV.
It's a typical night at this racetrack in Florida. And typical means racing Granny Tatro is duking it out with the boys.
For force fun, Eddie King challenging on the inside.
Racing Granny hit the track 21 years ago when she was 48 years old. She had an old car that wouldn't pass inspection, so she did the logical thing. She put a roll bar on the car and headed for the track.
Once I got into that race car and felt the sensation, I wanted to go quicker. And I wanted something better. And I wanted a race car. So I bought my first race car, my first real race car. And the rest is history.
Granny never even knew she was supposed to be intimidated by the big boys on the oval.
I get a lot of hugs and kisses in the pits because I'm racing Granny. But out on the track, it's every man for themselves, including me.
Granny owns the track record for the most starts and finishes without a crash.
On the inside.
But this night, her streak is about to end, and it was all captured on home video.
Russell moves up to third. Look out, we've got trouble in turn one. Granny Tatro making hard contact.
Granny says she's still madder than a wet hen about this crash.
The boys were kind of feisty that night.
Granny was driving a brand new car. She was supposed to be at the front of the pack, but the boys were acting up, so she dropped back to stay out of trouble.
I knew somebody was going to turn around. If I'd stayed up where I started, I would have been out of it.
Turn one, Granny Tatro
Instead of that, there I was right in the middle of it.
a very heavy hit. You could feel it all the way up here in the tower.
And I threw my helmet, and I just acted something terrible for a granny.
And Granny Tatro getting out of the car under her own power. She's okay.
Miraculously, both drivers were unhurt.
And Copley coming out of the Thunderbird. He's okay.
Well, that poor little car went off on the wrecker's hook, and I went off on my 2 little feet.
Granny raced for 19 years before she broke her neck in another crash. She doesn't regret it for 1 minute.
I'd like to see people get out and do what they want to do while they can do it. Don't sit around and wait because the time might not come. Do it while you can and hang in there.
For the record, the racing Granny is 69 years old. Back when she was younger, she also raced boats and motorcycles. We'll be right back.
Coming up, hundreds of ice fishermen stranded, water all around them, and a blizzard on the way. Plus, cops are called in to help out a family of ducks. And the bike race where you take your life into your hands. We'll be right back.
The best homes, the best interiors, the best gardens. San Diegans everywhere are talking about San Diego Home Garden Lifestyles magazine. Subscribe now by calling 800-417-8100. Look for the art-filled living room on the cover. This month we'll show you how to attract wildlife to your garden. You know something about gardens, don't you, Pat Welsh?
A little bit, yes. Matter of fact, I've written a couple of books on the subject.
Do you read the magazine?
Absolutely, cover to cover. Of course, I'm partial to the magazine's garden coverage, but I also love the features on interiors and architecture.
Well, this month we'll explore interiors as we take a look at hard surfaces and give you ideas on how and where to use them. We also have features on a dream kitchen in Poway and great interiors in Del Mar. San Diego Home Garden Lifestyles magazine. Get it at your favorite newsstand or call now to subscribe. 800-417-8100. That's 800-417-8100.
It's Outdoor Week at Home Base. Your chance to get base buys throughout the store. For instance, UCI Redwood Stain is $5.99 a gallon every day. For Outdoor Week, it's a base buy of $3.99. Outdoor Week only happens once a year, so hurry in today. Go to the base, Home Base.
Sourdough. I was just noticing your sourdough bread.
What about it?
You love it, right?
Yeah. I mean, not every day.
No, not every day, of course.
Occasionally.
Right. That's what I meant. Listen, if you like sourdough, I know this place that makes an excellent cheeseburger, the Sourdough Jack. 2 slices of grilled sourdough. Very unique.
Sounds good. Oh, I gotta get going.
Sure.
Frozen yogurt.
Think he's gonna show?
He's not here, and he's not gonna be here. Honey, say something.
This is diet?
How could diet taste this good?
Oh, yeah, serious. You've gotta try this.
They're expertly trained,
Did we wake you up?
We've been up since the crack of noon, sir.
highly skilled,
I think it's your cue.
and heavily armed.
Have you been getting the fruit baskets I've been sending you, sir?
Now it's time
Well, there goes tonight's luau.
to rock the boat.
I totally forgot about that inner ear thing.
McHale's Navy.
Suck it in, mister.
Totally sucked. Sir.
Rated PG.
Starts Friday at a theater near you.
Anything else for you?
No. Oh, wait. What's the deal with the corn dog?
Right now, get any 3 of these items and a fountain drink for $1.99 at AM/PM.
It's Outdoor Week at Home Base. Your chance to get base buys throughout the store. For instance, Scott's Turf Builder is $7.99 every day. For Outdoor Week, it's a base buy of $6.99. Outdoor Week only happens once a year, so hurry in today. Go to the base, Home Base.
In Canada, a lot of people have a passion for ice fishing. But take a look at what happens when the ice suddenly breaks and leaves hundreds of fishermen stranded. Here's our John Johnston.
A blizzard rages over this frozen lake in Ontario, Canada, and a news crew is there to capture a dramatic rescue. It's Saturday and hundreds of locals are ice fishing. They sit in heated huts, drill holes in the ice, and wait for the big catch. But on this day, there's a snag. When temperatures run unexpectedly warm, the frozen lake begins to thaw. 90-mile-per-hour winds sweep the region and shift the weakened ice, causing enormous cracks to form, stranding dozens of fishermen in the middle of the lake. Firemen are called in and quickly spring into action. Rescue teams work non-stop to pick up the fishermen using boats, helicopters, and ski-doos. Although the weather continually changes throughout the day, conditions on the other side of the lake are just as bad. Scott Hasted was sightseeing and had his video camera with him when the frozen lake began to give way.
There's nothing much we could do. It was just to watch, watch and hope that nothing happened. There was nothing you could do. You were just helpless.
All he can do is point his camera into the clusters of people attempting to walk to shore. Their obstacles? Enormous stretches of water, some as wide as 600 feet. Later, as another blizzard brews in the darkening sky, a helicopter uses every last bit of light to search for anyone else who's stuck. Luckily, the pilot finds what he's looking for and airlifts a group of 20 to shore. It is dark when the helicopter lands, but a man with a flare greets the group, who walks safely to shore. When the sun rises the next day, all that's left are a colorful bunch of abandoned fishing huts and, of course, a lot of lucky fish.
No one was hurt in the ordeal. The next day, dozens of intrepid people ignored all the warnings and went right back out onto the ice to catch the big one. Well, now for a tape of a grueling cross-country bike race. 2,000 competitors are at the starting line.
There is strength in numbers. 2,000 strong take to the dirt roads of Mammoth Lakes, California for the annual Mammoth Bike Race. Race cameras cover the event from every conceivable angle. The rugged terrain and crowded field are a perfect recipe for spills. But like true sportsmen, they get right back into the race. Even if it means carrying your bike. As the saying goes, nice guys finish last. After a very hard day on a very dusty road, it's time to rejoice in sweet victory.
Nearly all of the 2,000 racers reach the finish line, and in a race like that one, finishing is considered winning. Well, in the waters off Florida, the end of the road for an old warship means a new beginning for the area's marine life.
It's high noon on the high seas. We're 13 miles out off the coast of Pensacola, Florida, and on this day, the U.S. Coast Guard isn't saving a ship, they're sinking one. The Antares had seen better days. In all of its glory, this vessel hauled everything from oil to animals. This footage, shot by Florida Marine Resources, captures the final hours of this soon-to-be artificial reef. Here, crew members make a final check, making sure the Antares can be sunk pollution-free. After its last tow out to sea, the nearly 30-year-old vessel is rigged with two 20-pound charges of dynamite. With a radio transmitter, the ship is nearly blown in half. 15 minutes later, the vessel slips beneath the sea. As folks watch the Antares' final act, the ship itself will forever be at the bottom of the deep blue sea. And we'll be right back with a police call. Ducks in distress.
Next time on Real TV, a funny car crash that disintegrates the whole car, all the way down to the tires. Next, Real TV. If you have Real TV, call us toll-free at 1-888-REAL-TV-1 or on the web, we're at realtv1.com.
Not yet. Still not. Nope. Getting warmer. Now it's official. It's not really summer till you have your ballpark.
Only Ballpark Franks have such a big, juicy taste. They plump when you cook them.
Don't you just love summer?
Buy Space Jam on video, 3 Ballpark products, and get a $5 rebate by mail.
Hey, the man here's looking for his wife. Traveling with a guy with a baseball cap. Has anybody here seen him?
Looks like she got away from you, cowboy.
If someone you loved suddenly disappeared,
Is there a possibility she could have left you?
My wife did not leave me.
I saw what happened.
what would you do to get her back?
What do you want?
Kurt Russell, Breakdown.
You better pray she's alive.
Rated R. Starts Friday, May 2nd everywhere. It's your first company picnic.
Nice tie, sir.
Time to advance the old career
Nice party, boss.
and get a little FaceTime with the boss.
Nice scalp, sir.
Don't let bitter beer stand in your way. Drink Keystone, America's never bitter beer. Never a bad taste, never a bitter face.
Have you met my daughter?
We've met all right.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
Need new tires in a hurry? At Discount Tire Company, we move fast, except when it comes to closing our doors. Slide in for a new set of Goodyears at Discount Tire Company.
If ever you're not satisfied with one of our tires, please feel free to bring it back. Thank you. Discount Tire Company.
Stop by this week for a great deal on Michelin tires. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
On the next episode of Seinfeld.
Where's the TV? Where's the VCR?
Well, Mr. Seinfeld, we'll look into it and we'll let you know if we find anything.
You ever find anything?
No.
Coming up next on KUSI.
Promotional consideration sponsored by
Crunch and Munch. It's perfect whatever you're craving. Popcorn, peanuts, and rich buttery toffee.
Delicious. It's like a fun snack. I'd take this in the car on a long trip.
Or maybe a short trip.
Any trip.
There's also a Clear Eyes for contact lens relief. Clear Eyes CLR. The soothing drop that clears lenses as it refreshes your eyes. Clear Eyes CLR.
Closed captioning sponsored by
When you build a country by hand, you're going to get a little dirty doing it. For over 100 years, Pumice-powered lava, where America's dirtiest hands come clean.
Finally, streets were blocked off, cops were called out. It looked like they were preparing for a parade, and it was one, kind of.
In Adelaide, Australia, a mother duck takes her 9 little ducklings for a stroll around town, but they can't find their way back home. The Australian police take charge and lend them a hand. They block the traffic and direct them homeward. Finally, they find their humble pond.
612 Roger, just for info, mother duck and all little ducks safe at the time.
Ah, home sweet home.
That's it for now. There's more Real TV next time. Until then, don't forget to take your camera with you. You never know when Real TV might happen.
From San Diego's 24-hour news station, this is a KUSI News Break.
Hello, here's the latest news as we approach 7 o'clock. The plan to set aside 170,000 acres of land for conservation may run into trouble with the Board of Supervisors. Chairman Bill Horn calls it, quote, an elitist doctrine which locks up your land without a vote. San Diego City Council has already approved it, but much of the affected property is county land. The plan is strongly supported by Interior Secretary Bruce Babbitt. Well, this could be the worst day for flooding in the upper Midwest. A dike protecting the city of Fargo, North Dakota from the Red River has broken. Some residents are evacuating, and witnesses say 3 feet of water has already rushed into town. Workers are trying to rebuild the dike this evening. National Weather Service in San Diego says look for more of a marine layer and slightly less clearing over the next few days. We'll keep you updated here at KUSI. 77 degrees in El Cajon. Next news break in 1 hour. News every hour, every day.
So I move into the center lane. Now I get ahead of this woman who felt, for some reason, I guess, that she thought that I cut her off. So she pulls up alongside of me, gives me the finger. It seems like such an arbitrary, ridiculous thing to just pick a finger and you show it to the person. It's a finger. What does it mean? Someone shows me one of their fingers, and I'm supposed to feel bad. Is that the way it's supposed to work? I mean, you could just give someone the toe, really, couldn't you? I would feel worse if I got the toe than if I got the finger. Because it's not easy to give someone the toe. You got to get the shoe off, the sock off, and drive, get it up in the... Look at that toe, buddy. I mean, that's really insulting to get the toe, isn't it?
Unexpected breakdown.
What the hell? What did you do?
A helpful passerby.
I can give you a ride to Bell's. Call a tow truck. They just come in and haul you out.
Now, an ordinary man.
I'm looking for my wife, but I've never seen you before in my life.
Has an unbelievable story.
My wife did not...
An unexpected breakdown.
What the hell? What did you do?
A helpful passerby.
I can give you a ride to Bell's. Call a tow truck. They just come in and haul you out.
Now, an ordinary man.
I'm looking for my wife, but I've never seen you before in my life.
Has an unbelievable story.
My wife did not leave me.
We're gonna be watching you.
When do I see my wife?
Just start walking. Kurt Russell.
You better pray she's alive.
Breakdown.
Where is she?
Rated R. Starts Friday, May 2nd everywhere.
Your sister got a new car. Your boss got a new car. Your best friend got a new car. But you've been waiting. Smart.
Because now, when you buy the best-selling Taurus or Escort, even the new 98 Contour, you can lock down a rate of 1.9% for 36 months. Not for 1 year or 2 years, but for 3 full years. You're looking at 3 great cars at 1 great rate with monthlies that look even better. Now, aren't you glad you waited?
Today, video cameras are everywhere. We bring you the pictures they've captured. Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's funny, but it's always real TV. There's nothing funny about this funny car race caught on tape. It looks like a fireworks display, but there's no celebrating going on at NASA headquarters.
We need to secure the area.
Got that sinking feeling? Then bring your video camera along for a ride on a submarine. You've heard of being crazy like a fox. Well, this cat is crazy about one. And the wedding that took place on the Lynx. Whatever you do, don't blink. It's time for real TV.
Hi, I'm John Daly, back with more of the first show that brings you great tape every day. We begin with the tape of the man voted the best funny car driver of the year. He's seen it all, including his share of crashes. But they're still talking about the one that nearly killed him. Here's our correspondent, John Johnston.
Professional auto racing is a dangerous game. It's a fast-paced, high-octane world of blood, sweat, and speed. Winning is the thrill of a lifetime. Losing can be deadly. John Force knows this all too well. It's the Mid-South Nationals in Memphis, Tennessee. John is at the starting line. He's riding a rocket, and the fuse is lit. When the light turns green, his Castrol racing machine will send John 0 to 310 miles per hour in just 4.5 seconds. The start is clean. as both cars scream down the quarter-mile course. Watch as they cross the finish line. Right there, John's engine explodes from the battle. The blast is so powerful, it rips the body off the car. Another burst turns John Force into a speeding fireball. He slams into the guardrail, tearing the fiberglass body off the car frame. The charred metal cage with John inside skids down the roadway, slamming into a sand trap at the end of the course. John's crew runs to the crash site as emergency workers put out the car's discarded burning shell. How could anyone survive such a violent crash? Watch in slow motion again as the car slams into the guardrail. The impact is so severe that it separates the burning shell from the race car. It's incredible. It's also vintage John Force, which is why no one is surprised when the singed Superman crawls out of the twisted wreckage.
I was really fortunate that I did hit the wall and come across the racetrack. It hit the wall and the impact took the body off the car, which was totally on fire. I probably would have been burned because I couldn't get out of it. And it rolled over down to the end of the racetrack, and that's where I told him I saw Elvis at 1,000 foot. I'm fearless. Scares the heck out of me, trust me. Every time it happens, I don't care who you are, how good you are, everyone has fear.
John's unbridled spirit is matched only by his love of auto racing. And if you think a few fiery crashes are gonna slow John Force down, think again.
It's no different than a bullfight. You know you're going in the ring, and over the course of the years, things are gonna happen. But you never know. That's what's really exciting about it. It's like opening a Christmas gift. You never know what's in there. And when you set them on fire, you never know when you're coming out.
It might look like a daredevil sport, but for John, safety is the #1 issue. He even uses a weather satellite to forecast conditions at his next race so he can make the necessary adjustments. Well, when things go wrong for the U.S. space program, it's also a spectacular sight. As you watch this tape of a rocket blowing up, listen to the euphemism NASA uses for a major embarrassment.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Dateline, Cape Canaveral, Florida. The Air Force launches its Delta II rocket. All systems go. Then, suddenly and without warning, the unthinkable.
We have had an anomaly. We just had an anomaly of the Delta II launch vehicle from Cape Canaveral Air Station.
13 seconds into its flight, Air Force cameras capture this spectacular explosion. The worst of its kind at the Cape in the last 10 years. Resembling the 4th of July, the rocket rained 254 tons of debris and propellant on everything in its path. Incredibly, no one was injured, but the unmanned rocket explosion had a price tag of over $100 million.
It'll be a while before NASA figures out exactly what went wrong. Well, to Great Britain now, where a steep new tax has citizens taking to the streets. The protest turns into a riot, and one woman gets caught in the middle. Our Michael Brownlee has her story.
A massive rally turns into a dangerous riot in downtown London. As mounted police charge through the street, a female demonstrator darts out in front of the stampeding horses. The trouble all began when government officials enacted a law to dramatically increase property taxes for everyone in Great Britain. Instantly, the public explodes in outrage over the poll tax. Over 20,000 men, women, and children turn out to march peacefully through Trafalgar Square in central London, and a battalion of BBC News cameras are there to cover it.
I went to the poll tax demonstration because I believed that it was an unfair tax. The atmosphere was very friendly and everyone seemed very happy. There was a really good feeling in the air.
Mary, who wishes to remain anonymous, recalls the sudden shift in the crowd.
Then suddenly total chaos broke out and people started shouting and people were running and things started being thrown. There was only one direction I could run in, so I had to run in that direction.
To escape the hysteria, Mary inadvertently bolts out in front of a pack of galloping horses.
I could hear horses' hooves really loudly in my ears, and I could hear people shouting. And suddenly everything went dark. And it was as if I'd been hit by a bus. The next thing I knew, I was being passed around. I was being passed through a group of people. I can remember people's voices, people saying to me, "Are you all right? Are you all right?" I found myself wandering around, not quite knowing what to do or where to go or where I was.
As Mary walks around with a concussion, the riot's violence escalates. Stores are looted. Buildings and trash are set ablaze. In addition to Mary, 132 people and 20 horses are injured.
I was in a stooping position, and I believe I then got kicked in the face and received the injury that you can see to my eye.
It isn't until Mary makes her way home and turns on the news that she finds out why her head and body are in severe pain.
More than 100 people have been injured tonight in serious rioting across central London.
I didn't realise the extent of anything until I actually saw the footage on the television, until I saw the news. And it was then that I realised, my God, that was me. That was me. That was me under those horses' hooves.
After spending a week in bed, Mary makes a full recovery. Although her picture was plastered all over British television, Mary now maintains a very low profile.
I couldn't believe it when I was accused of inciting a riot, because there was I, an innocent victim, being nearly trampled to death, and then I had people telling me that it was me who was starting the riot. You know, it was just absolutely devastating for me. So I'm very nervous about showing myself in public, because even today they're still investigating the poll tax demonstration.
The tax has since been lifted due to the public outrage. Well, no outrage on the part of guests at one wedding. It took place on the golf course.
This looks like a ride down the fairway, but it's really a wedding cart caravan. You see, the groom, Corey Olson, is an avid golfer. So when it came time to pop the big question, instead of Las Vegas, he wanted to get married on the golf course. And instead of tuxedos, the bridal party is wearing sporty golf wear. The idea is for the guys to hit up to the green by the clubhouse, and then the gals putt out. Although the traditional vows are taken in the middle of the ninth green, Reverend Al Stoa declined to wear shorts, saying, "Not with these white legs."
God is joined together, but no one.
This home wedding video stands out from most typical tapes. When asked how this one stacked up against others, the bridal party said it was way above par.
Do you have home video of an unusual wedding? We'd love to see a copy. Here's how to reach us toll-free. Our number is 1-888-REAL-TV1. We'll be right back.
Still ahead, real TV made by a computer that shows what it's like to be on a doomed airliner. Later, the friendship that knows no bounds. Raw and unrehearsed, real TV returns in a moment.
Those fingers in your hair, that look that lures them there, it's rich.
It's New Finesse with hydrating silk proteins for soft, silky, touchable hair. New Finesse, get the look that gets the touch.
The engineers of the Pontiac Grand Am make excitement a standard feature, right down to the exhaust system. They've designed it of stainless steel, not common metal. So instead of being rust-prone, it stays rust-proof. Everything on a Grand Am is built to be driven quite hard, which may explain why it's driven quite often. Grand Am, built for kicks, built for keeps.
1997 Ragu. New red wine and herb sauce. With a pinch of herbs and a dash of Chianti. Open a bottle with the family tonight. Ragu, never a dull moment.
It now appears that Shaq is suffering from a neck injury.
Of course we're concerned. That's one valuable neck.
Shaq is suffering from taco neck syndrome, TNS. It's caused by his craving for delicious Taco Bell tacos. And he's getting worse with every neck-bending bite.
There's nothing funny about TNS.
It's not natural. Get some more of those tacos.
Now, pick up a coupon for $5 off regular admission to SeaWorld at participating Taco Bell locations.
Hey, best man, time for your speech.
I remember Ted's first wedding. He knew his way around. What was the lady's name? Kathy. I feel like I know almost better than Ted.
Don't be a victim of bitter beer. Drink Keystone, America's never bitter beer. Never a bad taste, never a bitter face.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
Newsweek, Entertainment Weekly, The New York Times, and Rolling Stone all praise Grosse Pointe Blank. It's the sleeper hit of the year. Newsweek says it's fresh, spontaneous, and darkly funny.
10 years, man!
Entertainment Weekly calls it a zingy, deadpan, hilarious comedy. The New York Times says it's bright and surprising, and Rolling Stone rates Cusack is brutally funny.
Where have you been for 10 years?
I'm a professional killer.
Do you have to do postgraduate work for that?
Grosse Pointe Blank. It's a true original, rated R. Now playing at a theater near you.
Welcome back. In spite of all the horrible headlines, flying is by far the safest form of travel. Every time a plane crashes, investigators learn more on how to make flying even safer. So in a sense, no one dies in vain. Our Sabila Vargas shows us how computers turn complex information into real TV so that answers can be found.
Sioux City, Iowa, 1989. A cameraman captures the final moments of a United airliner forced to perform an emergency landing after all its power went out. 112 people died. Colorado Springs, 1991. 25 passengers perish as another United flight mysteriously crashes.
What kind of plane is it, you know?
In fact, the accident happened so fast that 6 years later, experts still can't agree on what doomed the flight.
Until now, black boxes were the only way of recreating these types of disasters. But today, new techniques are helping us visualize them as well. And with this comes a new form of real TV.
This demonstration looks all too real. It shows what happens when a 707 crashes. The plane is real, but the only passengers on board are crash test dummies. The demonstration reveals the devastation, but there was nothing to visualize the cause of a plane crash until now. Today, computer animation is being used to recreate mysterious crashes in hopes of finding a cause. This is animation of U.S. Air Flight 427 that crashed in Pittsburgh in 1994. It's been combined with data from the black box to give us a good idea of just exactly what went wrong.
And you can see the horror that must have been experienced by both these crew members and the passengers who could see the ground as well.
Attorney Arthur Wook actually uses the animation in court cases representing the families of crash victims. He claims the animation shows two possible causes for the Pittsburgh plane crash: a fatal rudder malfunction or the violent wake from another plane. This is computer animation of another airplane disaster that happened in 1987. The eerie illustration puts an end to the dispute over what caused Northwest Flight 255 to crash, killing 156 people during takeoff. For the first time, it shows how the flight crew's failure to properly set the wing flaps made the jet uncontrollable.
They're desperately trying to get control of the airplane, but they strike a light standard. That loses the left wingtip, which now causes a change in the lift, which causes the airplane to roll upside down and crash.
Perhaps someday computer animation and demonstrations will help make flying safer. Attorney Arthur Wook certainly hopes so. When not practicing law, he flies jets for a hobby. Not long ago, his life was spared when his plane went down. He hopes others will never have to go through that type of terror.
I now know better than I ever did what flight crews and passengers go through in an accident. It is your worst nightmare come true, and you know that you're going to have a death by mutilation in moments. I can't conceive of anything more terrible than death in an airplane crash.
The U.S. government is constantly updating its policies on airliners. For example, in January 1997, Vice President Gore announced a plan for major revisions in the Boeing 737, a jet that has been on the market for nearly 30 years. We'll be right back.
Coming up next, cruising the deep and meet the odd couple. We'll be back in just a moment.
Tonight on the KUSI News at 10, organized crime and Indian gaming don't mix. 17 members of a Pittsburgh crime family were indicted today for alleged involvement in San Diego's Rincon Casino. We'll have a report. Hello, I'm Brian Christie. The Padres are in Honolulu soaking up some sun and getting ready to play the Cardinals this weekend. Skip has a report. And it's a grim scene in North Dakota as floods continue to wreak havoc and ruin lives. A complete report coming up at 10 o'clock.
In a world of global intrigue, trust no one. I like this guy.
To then we have to kill him.
But believe in one man.
If you want to live, you have to leave my side.
The Saint, rated PG-13. Now playing in theaters everywhere.
Recently, history was made through the miracle of cloning.
How much? $6.99. Any pizza, any size, any topping.
You got two?
Any pizza, any size, any toppings for $6.99.
Little Caesars, any pizza, any size, any topping, $6.99 each. Get two and Crazy Bread's free. Pizza.
Can you believe there are over 370 furniture and home furnishing stores in San Diego County? But there's only one #1, and year after year, it's Jerome's. That's because Jerome's has the best values on furniture, and there's always something going on. Like right now, get this 100% leather sofa for only $6.98, and you don't pay the sales tax. Or the 6-piece master bedroom, only $9.98, and no sales tax. See for yourself why Jerome's is San Diego's favorite furniture store, and this week, let Jerome's pay the sales tax.
Think he's gonna show?
He's not here, and he's not gonna be here. Honey, say something.
This is diet?
How could diet taste this good?
Huh? Oh, yeah, serious. You gotta try this.
On the next Extra, she lost her child to a teenage drunk driver.
He's done enough damage, and it needs to stop now.
She found the strength to forgive the boy who killed her daughter. Now they've teamed up to save other young lives. It's the story of the unlikely pair turning tragedy into a healing process. Then, she's a real-life superwoman who can swim, run, and fight farther and faster than any woman in the world. Meet the world's greatest female athlete on Extra.
Tonight at 7:30, followed by Star Trek Voyager on KUSI.
Well, if you've had enough of planes, trains, and automobiles, why not try a ride in a real submarine? Here's the tape.
Have you ever wondered what it's like 150 feet below the sea? Well, now you can find out for yourself. Dennis Hurd, a marine explorer working with oil companies, used to take executives down in his submarine. And then it hit him. If they got such a kick out of a sub ride, wouldn't anyone? The answer is yes. In 1986, Dennis started taking people down for visits to the deep. So far, more than 4 million have experienced the ocean's depths, up close and personal. Here in the crystal clear waters off the Cayman Islands, riding the sub is like taking a spin in your own private aquarium. The touring fleet, called the Atlantis, is so busy they have more submarines than most countries. For the voyagers who fork out the $75 it costs to take the plunge, they say it's just like scuba diving. but you don't get wet.
And who says big things don't come in small packages? Take a look at this.
If you've ever wanted to feel the force behind the wheel of a monster truck but couldn't afford it, here's the next best thing. You can save about $50,000 by using one of these. It's a miniature version of the real thing. This remote-controlled monster truck cost about $350. Rick Keene has been racing these trucks for more than a dozen years. He's added a little twist to his home video. A mini camera mounted on board puts you in the driver's seat. At last, there's a truck you can crash without having to go to the body and fender shop.
And Rich won the Oregon State Championship for remote-controlled trucks. We'll be right back with the animals version of The Odd Couple.
Next time on Real TV, the tape of the TV reporter at the wrong place at the wrong time.
As you can see.
Next, Real TV. If you have Real TV, call us toll-free at 1-888-REAL-TV-1 or on the web, we're at realtv1.com.
I never felt like I fit into you, curved around my curve.
Introducing Body Language, a whole new sensation in lingerie. Satiny underthings that never sacrifice a stitch of comfort.
My body feels so right when you caress my skin. It's hard to tell where you end and I begin. I know you'll never stray. Just keep holding me each day.
New Body Language lingerie, the prettier side of comfort from Playtex.
The best homes, the best interiors, the best gardens. San Diegans everywhere are talking about San Diego Home Garden Lifestyles magazine. Subscribe now by calling 800-417-8100. Look for the art-filled living room on the cover. This month we'll show you how to attract wildlife to your garden. You know something about gardens, don't you, Pat Welsh?
A little bit, yes. Matter of fact, I've written a couple of books on the subject.
Do you read the magazine?
Absolutely, cover to cover. Of course, I'm partial to the magazine's garden coverage, but I also love the features on interiors and architecture.
Well, this month we'll explore interiors as we take a look at hard surfaces and give you ideas on how and where to use them. We also have features on a dream kitchen in Poway and great interiors in Del Mar. San Diego Home Garden Lifestyles magazine. Get it at your favorite newsstand or call now to subscribe. 800-417-8100. That's 800-417-8100.
Everybody's a little wild, everybody's a little child, everybody's a little squirt, be a squirt and squirt your thirst. Everybody's a little cool, everybody breaks a little rule. Everybody's a little squirt, be a squirt and squirt your thirst. Everybody's a little juvenile, everybody's a little infantile, everybody's a little squirt, be a squirt and squirt your thirst.
Squirt, a cool citrus blend.
Everybody's a little squirt, be a squirt and squirt your thirst. Everybody's a little squirt, be a squirt.
On the next episode of Seinfeld.
Ah, that's for me.
Yeah, and you're just what she's looking for, too.
Boy, I have to get to a bathroom.
Coming up next on KUSI.
Promotional consideration sponsored by...
I switched to Polygrip Free because it's free of artificial flavors and colors. And it's strong. It holds well. I eat an apple a day with my Polygrip Free.
When the female body might be pregnant, mind chooses Clear Blue Easy. Blue you're pregnant, clear you're not. So accurate, mind and body, rest assured. Clear Blue Easy.
Closed captioning sponsored by...
If you'd like to save up to 50% on your contact lenses, eyeglasses, and eye exams, call for a free Lens Express catalog. Call 1-800-340-LENS.
And finally, the story of the feline and the fox.
It's an absolute beautiful morning.
We've all heard the story of the fox and the hound, but this home video tells a different story.
Mandy, what you doing then?
Meet Monday, a baby red fox who wanders into Gene and Peter Macy's yard. It happens on a Monday, thus the name. Monday loves the neighborhood so much, he decides to stay till Tuesday.
We've got a very tired fox here.
When Monday crosses the path of Simba, the Macy's black cat, she tries to run him out of town. Now it's Wednesday, and Monday isn't easily outfoxed. He continues to frolic in the yard.
I don't know where it's sleeping or anything.
On Thursday, Monday and Simba play a few games of hide and seek. By Friday, the fox and the cat learn to live in harmony. Realizing this is not just a pipe dream, on Saturday, this fox finds a new place to dig his hole.
That's how it uncovers its snowball. Planned on a photograph against.
Sunday is a day of rest, so Monday decides to take a cat nap.
That's it for now. There's more Real TV next time. Until then, don't forget to take your camera with you. You never know when Real TV might happen.